When you look at your hands, whose do you see? When I was young, my mother told me that bent pinkies run through the women in my family. Mine are curved, and my brothers are not. When my daughter was born, I immediately looked for those bent pinkies, a physical connection of countless generations of women before. What patterns carry through your family? Today, let's look at 2 books where hands and patterns connect the artist to their lineage and ancestry. Susan Lowdermilk is a book artist and printmaker in Eugene, Oregon. Of her numerous editioned pieces, she says, "I view my artist's books as a counterpoint to the flood of mass-produced digital imagery that we contend with constantly." All My Relations was the second woodcut artist's book that she editioned. At the time, Lowdermilk's mother was compiling her family's genealogical research and shared many of the photos with her. Objects appear to sit on top of photos. Much like the people, I don't know their backstories, but I can feel Lowdermilk's close relationship to them. Lowdermilk chose evocative objects that held special meaning to her family members. She drew each one from direct observation. She explained to me, "The process of spending the time to draw them allowed me to wonder about my ancestors and their relationships to the objects." The letterpress printed text spreads across the book like a long thought. It takes us through Lowdermilk's connection to her grandmother's stories, her ancestors, and into herself. The background patterns loosely correlate with the era of the photos on each spread. Most were derived from an old wallpaper sample book or historic American quilt patterns. This one came from wallpaper Lowdermilk found in the ruins of a mountain cabin on a hike with her mother. Like the photos, the patterns were photocopied, transferred to the woodblock, and carved by hand. Lowdermilk likens each spread to a different room, each with its own wallpaper. I find these background patterns indispensable. They create a consistent, yet differentiating surface upon which the photos and objects lay physically and in time. All My Relations is a dense and intimate book. It looks back into her family history, ultimately returning to the present, to Lowdermilk herself. Rhiannon Skye Tafoya is an indigenous artist from the Eastern Band Cherokee and Santa Clara Pueblo tribes. She creates work through printmaking, digital design, paper weaving, and bookmaking. Her work is inspired by and honors her maternal and paternal lineage of basket weavers. Ul'nigid is a Cherokee word meaning strong. Tafoya created this book to honor her maternal grandmother, whose image appears on the cover. The pages can open in many configurations. When all are standing, they become walls of a basket. The pages of Ul'nigid were meticulously woven from strips of paper while Tafoya was at the Women's Studio Workshop in 2019. She expressed to me her deep gratitude and acknowledgement for the intense work by the community members there to complete this ambitious edition. The design of the weaving is Tafoya's own. It follows a process similar to traditional Cherokee baskets woven with river cane and white oak. Tafoya created this pattern in response to Native artists often being boxed into particular parameters of their work. She was examining how Native artists can stay within or break out of these boxes, and the balance of being true to oneself without exploiting your culture. When Tafoya began developing Ul'nigid, she was not yet skilled in harvesting and basket making from the white oak tree. Weaving with paper turned out to be a meaningful connection between her printmaking and book arts knowledge and the basket weaving process that connects her to her family lineage and tribal cultures. Inside the book is an accordion pullout with a poetic narrative. These are Tafoya's personal memories of her grandmother. The English text is written in Tafoya's voice, directly addressing her first child, who she was pregnant with at the time. These poems deftly capture small moments to speak to themes of home and healing, language and lineage. All of the text was printed from handset metal type. Tafoya created a visual relationship between the layout of the text and the woven design. The poem mimics the weaving. The Cherokee text declares her love for her grandmother and her child, along with the words home, language, and medicine. All My Relations takes a long view of Lowdermilk's ancestors' hands, finding them through her own. Ul'nigid carries tradition and memory from Tafoya's ancestors' hands, through her own, to be passed on to her child. Both of these books collapse time, shaping a view of who we come from and to whom we go.